Hello everyone out there. In this video I am going to look at business letter, how to write a good business letter, and what are the things which we need to avoid when writing a business letter. You can also look at your textbooks, but there are some errors in your textbook, and I believe this will really help you in learning to write a good business letter if you listen to me right from the beginning till the end. Let's look at points to remember. So start your letter in full block format. That is, start your letter everything on the left. Do not start on the right, in the middle. It has to be on the left. And also state your reason for writing in the first paragraph and stay on the track. Sometimes when people write business letter, what they do is they do not stick to the point which they have mentioned, that is the introduction, the first paragraph. So what they do is they digress, which in a way makes it difficult for the readers to understand. Another important point is be brief, clear, and to the point. Do not add any unnecessary words. It may be strongly worded, but always be courteous and use polite language and pleasant tone. Do not be harsh. Remember, this is a formal letter. Make sure that you state your point. Do not be informal, but at the same time try to be polite. Use separate paragraphs for separate topics. Don't try to put together all the points in one single paragraph. That will make your letter very bulky, and that's not a good letter writing. Remember, self-introduction should be avoided. Self-introduction is not at all necessary, and remember, it is a total no. Informal expressions, greetings, or contracted forms of words should not be used. For example, hey, what's up, and words like wanna, gonna, ain't, all these words are informal and it should be avoided. I wanna inform you, I'm gonna, I ain't going there, and all this. These are too informal. It cannot be actually used in social letters as well. Those are, even in social letters, forget about business letter, formal letters. Another thing, if you know the person you are writing to, use their Mr. or Mrs. For example, if the name is Pierce Morgan, use their Mr. Morgan. Or the name is Nini Nakro, for example, use dear Mrs. Nakro. Avoid the first name. In case you do not know the person you are addressing to, use dear sir or madam. Do not use that slash, dear sir / madam. That is so incoherent, and it doesn't look good. Nobody wants to see that, dear sir / madam. Dear sir or madam. This is more preferable and more formal. Let's look at the standard business letter. The standard salutation for a business letter is the salutation there, followed by the person's name and sometimes a title, closing with a colon. Remember, when we give a salutation, in the past we always use comma. But nowadays, if we look at formal letters, we use colon um, instead of a comma. So in informal letters, we use comma, and in formal letters we use colon. Colon is used mostly by American writers. Many British writers do not use colon, but it is becoming more of a format, a standard format. So when you write a friendly or social letter, use comma, and when you write a formal letters or business letters, use colon. Dear Mr. Morgan, followed by a colon. We don't use comma in a business letter, although it is not mandatory. So like I've explained it to you earlier, it is actually good to use colon instead of a comma. For example, let's look at this example, the salutation. Dear Mrs. Reuther, dear Janet, colon, dear Attorney Adams, colon. You can see that it is not a comma, but a colon. Let's look at the ending phrase. If you know the person you are addressing to, use yours sincerely. For example, I'm writing to someone I know, for example, Piers Morgan, dear Mr. Morgan, and in the end, I use yours sincerely, give a comma, and then your name, your signature, or your designation. In case you do not know the addressee, use yours faithfully. So in many cases, we will be, made to use yours faithfully because most of the time we do not know the person we're addressing to. But it's always good to know the person we are writing the letter to. So if you know the person, use yours sincerely. If you do not know the person, the person who will be reading the letter, use yours faithfully. So, dear sir or madam is connected with yours faithfully. Dear Mr. Smith is connected with yours sincerely. This is the format. The sender's name at the top, the person who is writing the letter. Again here, you don't really have to add your name. It's not really necessary to add your name. You can just sign it off with your name in the end after yours faithfully or yours sincerely. It's not mandatory that you write your name at the top, but again, if you want to write it, you can write it. And in your textbook, your name is named. It's given there, and you can use it if you want. But if I were to write a formal letter, I would love to end it with my name in the end. So sender's name, street address, and followed by city, state, pin code. You don't have to mention the country. But if you are writing to someone out of this country and you're in India, then mention your country and also the country of the person you're writing to. Again, here it is, you leave one gap here. Make sure that you leave one line here. Do not contract date with the sender's name and address. Date should be a different entity and it should be separated. And then again, there should be one line free here. And then here we come to the recipient's name or the person who will be receiving your letter. And then the organization or the company the recipient is working at. And then like I've said, same city, state, pin code. So let's look at this. For example, Stephen Naga is writing a letter. He's the one writing a letter. So, name at the top, Stephen Naga, and then your organization, company, optional. I mean, if you don't have your organization or company, it's not mandatory, but if you have, it's always good to add your organization or company, or the organization you're working. So here, for the street name, I'm using Kuda Village, Half Nagarjan, and city, state, pin code. So Dimapur, Nagaland, 797112. Dimapur, comma, Nagaland, hyphen, 797112. And then I leave one line here, and I move on to date. So here, if it is 21st ST, 22nd ND, 23rd RD, 20th TH, so 20th September, give a comma here, and 2020. And after that, you leave another line here, and then let's go to the recipient's address, name and address. I am writing the letter to Mrs. Susan Nakro. If let's find out where Mrs. Susan Nakro is working. Her designation, she is the principal. Her title, and her organization is Daffodil School. So she is the principal of Daffodil School. Let's look at address of the Daffodil School: Highway Road, Vasan Vihar, and Delhi, 110067. That's the pin code. Salutation. Let's look at salutation. Piers Morgan, dear Mr. Morgan, and followed by a colon. Nini Nakro, dear Mrs. Nakro, followed by a colon. If you know the name of the person, use his or her last name or the surname. First paragraph. In the first paragraph, deliver a friendly and clear introduction. Do not introduce yourself. It's not necessary. State the main points of your letter here. Keep the section short and to the point. Do not add unnecessary sentences. Do not wait until the second paragraph to tell your audience what your main point is. They most likely wouldn't get that far. So in the first paragraph, state the point you want your reader to know. Second paragraph, use evidence and persuasive reasoning to justify your main point. If needed, use an extra paragraph to further support your point via empirical evidence. Avoid unnecessary points, use only main points. And then the closing paragraph. The closing paragraph should restate the point of the letter, and most importantly, include a call to action. Let's look at a call to action. A call to action is a passage that compels your reader to do something. Ask yourself, what do I want my reader to do right after reading this letter? Example of calls to action are please let me know how I may be of assistance during this period, or I look forward to hearing from you. I hope the case will be resolved as soon as possible. These are examples of call to action. Yours faithfully. Do not forget to give a comma, remember. Yours faithfully. And then there is no punctuation here in yours. Just simply yours faithfully, give a comma. And your signature, full name in capitals, designation if necessary. So that is it. Follow that format and your letter will be perfect. And another important thing, there is no indentation. Indentation is like if you use a computer and when you press the key tab, then it'll leave a little gap in your paragraph, the starting of your paragraph. In letter writing, it's not like that. There is no indentation, meaning everything has to start at start from the extreme left. As you can see, it has to be like this. It cannot start from here. For example, like closing paragraph should restate, not from here. For example, like if I press the word, if I press the key tab here, it will just leave a gap here like around this much, and there will be this empty space here. So we're not supposed to do that in letter writing. So that is it. If you have any doubts, make sure to reach out to me anytime. I'll be happy to help you. This is it, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.